Texas is quietly running out of water. The Ogallala Aquifer, which feeds 30 million people, loses enough water each year to fill 4 million Olympic swimming pools. Most Americans have never heard of it, yet Texas is not a desert state struggling to survive. It is the second largest economy in the entire Western Hemisphere, and it holds one record no country on Earth has ever matched. Fact number 1. The Ogallala Aquifer sits beneath 16 million acres of Texas farmland. Scientists estimate it will be functionally exhausted within 25 years. When it runs dry, 1/3 of all American beef production stops with it. Fact number 2. Texas is not part of the United States in the way most people assume. It is the only state that joined the Union by treaty, not by territorial conquest or purchase. That treaty legally preserved Texas's right to divide itself into 5 separate states at any time. Fact number 3. If Texas exercised that right tomorrow, 4 of the 5 new states would immediately qualify as individual G20 economies. The largest would rank as the 9th wealthiest nation on Earth. Fact number 4. Texas has a coastline longer than the entire eastern seaboard of the United States. That 367-mile Gulf Coast contains more species of birds than any other region in North America. Over 650 species have been recorded in a single county. Fact number 5. The King Ranch in South Texas is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. It covers 82,500 acres. The ranch maintains its own zip code, its own police force, and its own breed of cattle that exists nowhere else on the planet. Fact number 6. Texas has more caves than any other U.S. state. Over 3,000 map caves sit beneath its surface. Bracken Cave near San Antonio shelters the largest bat colony on Earth. Every evening at dusk, 15 million bats pour out of that single cave mouth in a column visible from 30 miles away. Fact number 7. In 1900, a hurricane struck Galveston and killed between 6,000 and 12,000 people in a single night. It remains the deadliest natural disaster in American history. No event since, including Katrina, has come close in death toll on U.S. soil. Fact number 8. Texas executes more prisoners than any other state in the country. Since 1976, it has carried out over 580 executions. That number exceeds the combined total of the next 4 highest states. Fact number 9. The Texas town of Hanksville does not exist on most federal maps. It was a planned community built on land legally disputed between 3 counties for over 80 years. Residents there paid taxes to no government, received no federal services, and operated entirely outside U.S. jurisdiction until 2004, and Hanksville is not the only place Texas hid from the federal government. There is a location in West Texas where the U.S. military conducted classified tests so contaminating that the surrounding soil still registers radiation levels unsafe for human contact. The official reports were sealed. The town nearby was simply told the land was no longer available. Fact number 10. Texas produces more wind energy than the next 3 U.S. states combined. It generates enough electricity from wind alone to power every home in California. Yet Texas runs on its own isolated power grid, entirely disconnected from the rest of the American electrical system. Fact number 11. That isolation is intentional. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, known as ERCOT, was built to avoid federal regulation. By staying disconnected, Texas sidesteps the oversight that governs every other state's power supply. During the 2021 freeze, that decision cost over 700 lives. Fact number 12. Texas contains more species of native trees than all of Canada and Europe combined. Its eastern pine forests share more DNA with Louisiana's bayou ecosystems than with the scrublands 200 miles west. Texas is not one landscape. It contains 7 distinct ecological zones within a single state boundary. Fact number 13. The Rio Grande, which forms the entire southern border of Texas, no longer reaches the Gulf of Mexico for most of the year. Water diversion projects upstream have reduced it to a trickle. For roughly 100 miles near El Paso, the river is dry sand for months at a time. Fact number 14. Houston has no zoning laws. It is the largest city on Earth with no formal land use zoning. A chemical plant can legally operate next to an elementary school. A slaughterhouse can open beside a residential neighborhood. This has been the law since Houston's founding, and voters have rejected zoning 3 separate times. Fact number 15. The Caddo people built mound cities in East Texas over 1,000 years before Europeans arrived. Their largest settlement held burial sites, open gathering squares, and and goods traded from as far away as the Great Lakes. When Spanish explorers finally reached them, they found a civilization with paved roads, political alliances, and farming systems more advanced than many European towns of the same period. Fact number 16. Texas has produced more US presidents than any state except Virginia and Ohio, but it also produced the only presidential assassination to occur on American soil in the 20th century. The 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas still draws over 300,000 visitors a year. Many come not for history, but because something about standing in that room makes the past feel unbearably close. Fact number 17. In Marfa, a small town of 1,800 people in the Trans-Pecos Desert, unexplained lights have appeared in the night sky for over 140 years. The Marfa lights have been documented by engineers, military observers, and university researchers. No scientific explanation has ever been confirmed. The Texas Department of Transportation built an official viewing platform on Highway 90 so visitors can watch them safely. Fact number 18. The San Jacinto battlefield, where Texas won its independence from Mexico in 1836, sits beneath 10 feet of industrial development. Petrochemical plants, refineries, and shipping channels cover the ground where 900 Mexican soldiers surrendered in 18 minutes. The battle that created Texas lasted less time than most people spend eating lunch. What followed that 18-minute battle shaped a legal and political structure that the US government has spent 190 years trying to fully contain. What most people never learn is what Texas was legally permitted to keep when it joined the Union and what it still quietly controls today. Fact number 19. When Texas joined the United States in 1845, it retained ownership of all its public lands. Every other state ceded its unoccupied land to the federal government. Texas kept its 170 million acres. The federal government owns less than 2% of Texas. In Nevada, it owns 85%. Fact number 20. Very few people know that Texas has a state-owned investment fund worth over $50 billion. The Permanent University Fund was built entirely from oil royalties on state land. It funds 2 university systems and has never required a single dollar of federal money. Fact number 21. What most maps don't show you is the network of aquifer tunnels beneath San Antonio that indigenous people used for water storage 3,000 years before the city existed. The Edwards Aquifer, which supplies water to 2 million people today, follows the exact same geological path those early engineers mapped by hand. Fact number 22. The official record says the Gulf of Mexico coastline of Texas is 367 miles, but the reality is different. When you measure every tidal inlet, bay, and barrier island, the actual contact between Texas land and saltwater exceeds 3,300 miles. Before this video ends, there is one final fact about Texas that almost no one outside the state knows. It involves a number so large it stops most people mid-sentence. Remember it. You will not forget it. Fact number 23. Texas contains 254 counties. That is more counties than any other U.S. state. Some are larger than the entire state of Connecticut. One county, Brewster, is bigger than the state of Connecticut and Rhode Island combined, yet holds fewer than 10,000 residents. Fact number 24. The first word ever spoken from the moon was not Houston as most people believe. The actual first word transmitted from lunar soil was contact, spoken by Buzz Aldrin when the Eagle's footpad touched the surface. Houston was the second word, but Houston, Texas remains the only city in human history to have its name spoken from another world. Fact number 25. Texas has executed innocent people. The Innocence Project has confirmed at least 4 cases where individuals were executed before exonerating DNA evidence became available. Cameron Todd Willingham was executed in 2004 for arson and murder. Fact number 26. Texas grows more cotton than any country in the world except China and India. It produces 45% of all U.S. cotton. That crop relies almost entirely on water from the Ogallala Aquifer, the same aquifer that appeared in Fact 1. Fact number 27. Texas has its own power grid, its own land, its own investment fund, and its own independence clause, but it also has its own pledge of allegiance. Texas school children recite a separate oath of loyalty to the state flag every morning immediately after the U.S. pledge. No other state does this. Fact number 28. The Texas State Capitol building in Austin is 14 feet taller than the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. This was not accidental. The architect was given explicit instructions. The building of Texas would not stand shorter than the building of the nation it had chosen to join. Fact number 29. There are more feral hogs in Texas than there are people in Los Angeles and Chicago combined. Over 3 million feral hogs roam the state. They cause $2 billion in agricultural damage every year. They carry disease, destroy crops, collapse riverbanks, and reproduce faster than hunting can control them. The Texas government has tried poison, trapping, aerial shooting, and bounty systems. None of it has worked. About which state do you want us to make the next video? Don't forget to subscribe for more videos.